Derrick,
Good to see you.
you too, man. You're looking good.
Oh, appreciate it, man.
You're looking thin, but in shape too. You're not looking like sickly thin.
I know. My mom doesn't say that. She look at me. She's like, "Hey, your wife not feeding, not feeding you."
My mom does the same thing. I'm like, you remember I was a fat kid, right? Like I take good care of myself. I'm 45. I'm in better shape than most people my age.
Yeah.
Like,
So I take a lot of pride in that. So I'm 210 pounds now.
okay.
And I played in the NFL 240, 245. So I'm about 30 pounds lighter. And I feel better. You know what I mean? I walk around, I don't even play golf. I play golf now, so I don't need that weight.
Do you do anything else working out wise to keep yourself in decent shape?
I do a lot of Pilates. My wife is big into Pilates, so I'm at the house now. She's like, "Come on with me." So it actually is really really good, especially when it comes to toning and core strength. I love it.
And even if you're not doing a whole lot with your arms or legs, getting that core strength up helps with everything else. Like I still try and find ways to chase a ball around to help me stay in shape. I can't get on a treadmill or I can't run around the neighborhood. That just seems like a pointless activity to me. So chasing the ball around is a big deal. So I play sand volleyball, and even when I'm not working on my swing or my shoulders or my arms or even my leg strength that much necessarily, if I'm doing something Pilates or core related with regularity, I will see an overall improvement in just how I'm moving and how I'm feeling.
That's a good point. I still do run a little bit. I still
Yeah.
think I'm a ex football player. I still think I have it, but I do get out there and run around the block.
Is that right?
Whenever. Yeah, 20-minute runs, 2 or 3 mile run,
Okay. Yeah.
or get out there and do some pickleball. Go to the courts and do pickleball, or play basketball. I'm very active when it comes to making sure my cardio is right.
Yeah.
I'm never a guy that did a bunch of big weights. I do that stuff now. I don't do a bunch of when I do weights, it's like high repetition stuff, just so
Yeah.
I can have that superset mentality where I'm getting tired at the same time while I'm lifting. So cardio is big for me. Just make sure I'm working on my heart.
Yeah, you're doing resistance training, but you're doing it smartly. You're not doing it like we all tried to do in our teens and 20s where we're setting 1 rep PRs,
Oh
right?
no,
Like that is a recipe
no.
for a serious injury,
Seriously,
unfortunately.
that's what I'm scared of. Like, even when I load up some weight on there and I go, I'm like, man, that's you know what? I don't need that. Get lighter weight, get more reps. I mean, I'm just trying to tone.
So other than staying in good Pilates shape and resistance training and jogging around a little bit, what are you up to these days?
Oh man, well, I got a foundation that
Yeah.
I'm really really big in. Cobra Cadillac is a big supporter of it. You guys have helped me help a lot of kids when it comes to inner city kids through education.
Mm-hmm.
We do makeover libraries for Title I elementary schools, and it's all about raising their levels of reading up before they get out of elementary schools. Because elementary school in inner city elementary schools, like their kids, when they leave elementary schools, if they're not on grade level reading, there's a 50% chance that they won't finish high school. So when you have that number like that, you got to pour into the heart of the school, which is the library, and providing the proper resources for them to reach their full potential. So
No doubt about that. And that's not surprising knowing your background and how you came from a household with a couple of educators. And I've got a couple of young kids in my house right now. And the most excited they get when we talk about school, they don't like talking to me about math lessons or writing lessons or whatever, but they love letting me know the books that they found at the library
that's awesome.
that week. And so the library is a source of entertainment for kids who are oftentimes going through the mundane activities of the school day, and ultimately it's helping them out too, obviously. But you got to find the ways that they can really enjoy that learning process. And the library, along with things like PE and I guess recess, if you want to consider that a sort of learning too, like those are some of the most popular places for kids to actually feel good about that whole thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And whatever you want to be in life, I mean, regardless of what environment you're in, education has to be a big part of it. So
Hmm.
if we can stress that, especially inner city kids, because they don't have as much resources as our kids, and just to put a cause on that, put a value on literacy is big for me, and being able to serve my foundation, being able to serve my family, being able to serve at the church, being able to serve Longhorn football. I go up there and do some mentor stuff with the linebackers and stuff. Man, serving is a big part of my life.
I feel like the foundation has been around for what, like 3, 4, 5 years
Yeah,
now?
yeah, 3 years here in
Okay.
Austin. I've had it in Kansas City, did some great work there, but
Oh,
now
very
that I'm
cool.
retired, I'm doing everything here in town.
What is something you've learned about that process since you could even go back to your days in Kansas City, but since you've really started doing this in Austin over the last 3 years, what's a big learning lesson for you?
Well, you know, your greatest gifts are revealed through serving. That's a big deal to me. And not only are we blessing these kids, you actually get a lot of benefit too at the same time, being
Mhm.
able to be a blessing to others, which is a life changing experience. It motivates you to do more because we're not going to run out of Title One elementary schools that need help with their libraries and need help with different resources. So being able to be that helper, not that we can do it all, but we can do more together than apart. And COVID's, I mean, y'all been supporting me ever since I got my foundation set here in Austin the last 2 or 3 years. So
Coverts do so much good in the community, and we're all so very thankful for that. So you mentioned that you will go to these libraries. Do you do some reading to the kids?
I do. I like to Pete the Cat books. I read Pete the Cat books. Just something that's interactive with them, something that they can have fun with, and even sometimes sometimes the books are first and second grade level, and
Yeah.
I mean it'd be some fourth and fifth graders in there, and they're laughing and they're interacting. So it's kind of cool that somebody that they idolize on TV and they see on TV or they think that's a big time superstar, and he comes in and says, "Hey, education is very important. Make sure you have hard work, attitudes right. Give them all these principles that I've learned when I me growing up." And then saying, "Hey, let me read you a book and let you know how fun reading is," and just it's really being able to paint the walls really nice and fat heads everywhere and just kind of liven these are $50,000 mini capital projects that we do. Yeah,
Wow.
we do. That's what we do. And for to make their environment better, that's everybody's talk about how kids are a product of their environment. So we're just making it better.
So we're not reading as many Pete the Cat books in my household these days, but my favorite back in the day, and I love the Pete the Cat books because they have a great cadence about them. It's
Yep.
almost like sing-songy as you're reading the books to your kids.
Yep.
My favorite was always Pete the Cat and the Magic Sunglasses. You have a favorite Pete the Cat book?
I haven't. I've read that one before. Pete the Cat and the New Guy is the one I've been reading lately. But I
Pete the
mean,
Cat and the New
and the
Guy.
New Guy, that's a good one. That's a
All
good one,
right.
really good one. But they do have a good cadence to it. But it's all about just getting them involved and letting them know it's fun.
So you mentioned having some of the current Texas linebackers. Is that right? Helping you out?
So no, they will be. That's a good thing.
Okay.
We're getting to that, but I'm saying I serve, like I go to UT and actually help out, like mentor like young linebackers and help out. Yeah,
Oh, is that right?
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
the current crop of linebackers, you've
Yeah, I've
actually
been
been.
around them. Yeah, I've been around them. Yeah, yeah, they're doing well. They're doing well. This is not. I don't want to say this is why they're doing well because, but I got to tell you, just seeing how they go about their business when I'm up there, that lets you know they're on another level right now.
I'll say it for you. If they are extracting lessons from Derrick Johnson,
Uh-huh.
they are definitely benefiting from one of the all-time greats to play that position at this university.
I appreciate
And I'll tell you, there's a guy, obviously Jalen Ford has done a phenomenal job over these last couple of years. He is one of the best linebackers in the conference and the entire country too. But a guy that's really impressed me over the last couple of weeks, it was kind of an unknown heading into the season, is David Benda. And he's showing flashes of Derrick Johnson in terms of him going sideline to sideline and really using that speed. Have you worked specifically with him?
Yeah, absolutely. David's a guy that whenever I see him, I always remind him, like, David's probably the hardest working guy on the team.
Mm.
So that lets you know just where he's been. He's an undersized linebacker. He's probably right at 6 foot 6'1". He'll tell you 6'1". He's probably 6 foot. But I tell you what, he's a fifth-year senior, I believe. So he's been through some things. And I
Yeah.
tell you what, man, he's battle tested, and we need David Bender to play really well, and he's been doing that, and we trust him. He trusts himself, and sky's the limit for him. So that I mean, we know what we have in Jalen Ford, but being able to have David Bender, add to that piece of the pie, and having Anthony Hill, had a young guy coming up. So I mean, it's cool to see, just from being a linebacker, to go up there and see him practice, or to talk to him and just say, wow, this is, y'all got a really, really solid group of linebackers that are helping us be very, very successful.
Have you had a chance to work with Anthony Hill much?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anthony Hills. I'm telling you, man. I told him the other day. I say, man, guys are going to be scared of you when you can become a junior and a senior. He just has that presence about him.
Yeah.
Everybody knows he's a freshman now, but he has a hardness about him that he's got a promising future. Put it like that.
What is what's the closest that you can maybe make a comparison to a former teammate in terms of that hardness? He just has that scary factor when you're standing next to him.
It would have to be Corey Redden. Corey Redden.
Okay.
Even though Corey Redden played a little bit different position, he's more of a D lineman. He has that mindset, like, hey, I'm about to knock you out, and it's going to happen. So just deal with it. And if you get me, I'm gonna get you back the next play. He just have that inner drive about him, that fierce, just that mindset, that taking no for, he's not going to take no for an answer.
What impresses you most about watching David Benda play linebacker for Texas?
Probably just the motor that he has, and it's not a motor that's going crazy. It's very efficient. He's making tackles, he's making plays, and people are calling his name out even more. Announcers saying David Bender on the tackle, David Bender with the sack, David Bender. You're like, man, and for me to see him like in the springtime and go up there and see him working out, I'm like, that's hard. That's all hard work. Of course, he's a smart guy, but I'm just telling you, man, he's the hardest working guy about on the team.
We started micro with the position that you obviously know really well. Let's zoom out a little bit, though. What are your impressions of this Texas defense on the whole? Because as somebody who is very optimistic about what this team is capable of right now, that really begins with how dominant this defense is. Like, even if the offense is having a bad day, the likelihood that you're still going to be in a game in the third and fourth quarter is still really high, because this defense and their performance has been exceptional up to this point.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I got to give credit to the defensive line first.
Yeah.
That defensive line is off the chain. I'm just telling you, they are big. I'm kind of, it's bittersweet because they all leaving next year. So it's one of those things where let's take advantage. I'm telling Jalen, hey, get behind those guys and let's roll. But I tell you what, the defensive line is awesome. They set the tone. It's always about the defensive line or the offensive line. They always set the tone for anything that's going on offensively and defensively. And our defensive line is battle tested. They're NFL guys. That's really a big word that I want to use, just because I know they're very prototypical defensive linemen in the NFL, which fares well for, when we go throughout the season, they're going to kick people's butt. And we have some linebackers that are very athletic with Jalen and Anthony Hill and David Bender. Maurice is coming back. So, I mean, you got Jet Bush. You got everybody back there playing behind these guys. I wish I played behind them. I had some good ones, but I wish I played behind them as well. But as a collective defensive team, we're doing well. And our offense, we know what we have on offense, even if it's slow at times or not. We have great talent on offense, especially those receivers and our quarterbacks. He's a star. He's like a quiet star, but he's a superstar.
And we're even seeing him get a little bit more vocal this year too, but not just that. Like last year, and look, it's understandable for a young player who has the pressure on him that a quarterback does at the college level, much less at the University of Texas. He was clearly letting negative things get to him, and it was having a sort of snowball effect. Whereas this year, even if he hasn't been good early in a game or first half or through three quarters, maybe, he's still maintaining a positive attitude on the sidelines. And he's one of the most vocal guys in terms of congratulating his teammates or trying to get the offense fired up when something good actually happens too. So while everybody's going to talk about the physical transformation and getting rid of the mullet, I think that was a good start. But, also him dialing up the diet and working out more seriously. Like, he's had an overall mindset change too that I think is going to help lead to some great things before the year is done.
Yeah, absolutely. Quarterback is the hardest position on the field.
Yeah.
by far. And I can easily say that. And Quinn is doing a great job by taking the bull, actually the bull with by the horns, and actually just being able to get the hard work done. And that's in and out of games. Take it play by play, and being able to say, hey, even if we start slow, hey, let's get it going, and let's make sure that they know, they feel the presence of Quinn and that offense and what they have going. And I tell you what, man, they've been playing well. Like, we've been talking about defense, don't get me wrong, but our offense is just as talented as our defense, or even more.
Oh boy, that's a big statement
Yeah,
there, because the
yeah.
defense is that good, but the offense does have that capability, especially, and this is no slight on CJ Baxter, but Jonathan Brooks felt like a guy when you watched him last year, whether in mop-up duty or in that bowl game loss to Washington, that there wasn't going to be that big of a drop-off. As good as Bijan and Roshan were at running back last year, Jonathan Brooks had that capability too. CJ Baxter earns the start through what he did in the summer and in fall camp, but now Jonathan Brooks seems like he's in the right spot as more of that bell cow running back, with CJ Baxter coming in as a sort of change of pace.
Yeah, Jonathan Brooks is a guy that's kind of, he's pretty good at everything.
Yeah.
He's pretty fast. He's pretty tough. You know, he's pretty good in pass protection. He's pretty good running through the tackles. He's pretty good on the outside. So when you have guys like that, sky's the limit for him. The sky's the limit. He reminds me of a Hunt. Running back
Kareem Hunt.
Kareem Hunt.
Oh,
just
yeah.
because he's probably a little bit tougher, but he's a guy that can do it all. And when you have Brooks out there, man, and he has that attitude, like he wants to run over you or juke you. He wants the ball. So when you have an older guy like that, it's definitely always a perk to have him in front of a guy like Baxter, who's going to be good. Trust me, he's going to be good, big guy. But Brooks is the guy.
So this Texas football team obviously picks up a huge road win week 2 of the season at Alabama. What is your favorite road win from your time here in Austin?
Oh man, road win. I would have to say probably going to Kansas State.
Okay.
Probably going to Kansas State when playing against Sproles and those guys, Bishop. Just the their offense was really, really good. Their option ball was crazy, and it was always a tough task to beat them, especially there. And, they're always pretty good, you know. But that was one of my really, really great wins. I got a lot of them. I'm trying to think. I do not have an OU win. I know that.
What?
Yeah.
2004 was your last year there, right?
Yeah,
And that was the only
yeah.
freaking loss on the schedule that year.
I know. So I'm literally 0-4 against OU. Now, did I have some
that pains me to hear, Derek? My goodness,
I know. Some people forget about that, but I had some great games, obviously, against them, regardless of what the score was. But it was always close. One time it wasn't, but it was always close.
We're gonna forget about that one time.
Right?
I was in the stands that day. I'm definitely forgetting about that time.
But I do have to say, I mean, they went to national championship twice during my era here, so they were pretty good. Needs to say.
All right, last question now. Is it the Derrick Johnson Foundation? Is that the name of the foundation?
So it's called Defend the Dream Foundation, but the way, if you want to go and donate online, it would have to be DerrickJohnsonFoundation.org.
DerrickJohnsonFoundation.org. People who are watching and listening, make note of that. DerrickJohnsonFoundation.org.
Yes.
My last question for you, because you are obviously all about encouraging the youth of America to read. What is your all-time favorite book and why?
All-time favorite book. It's easy. Bible. It's a Bible. I read it every day.
Okay.
It's something that speaks to me, speaks to my soul. It's something that it's a pamphlet and a guide to direct my family, to direct my community, to direct the people that I come in contact with. So the Bible by far.
I'm a big fan of Ecclesiastes. What's your favorite book of the Bible?
Oh, Proverbs. So much wisdom in there. Yep. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not unto your own understanding. In all your ways, acknowledge him, and he will direct your path.
Beautifully put there. Great way to end this conversation, too. He is Derrick Johnson joining us out at Covert Bee Cave today. It's been a real pleasure, man. Thank you. I've been a huge fan over the years. I knew you and I get to catch up from time to time. Thank you as always for that. And best of luck with things in the future.
Thank you.